A very warm welcome to today's press conference with the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, German Foreign Minister Johann Wadephul, and the German Minister of Defense, Boris Pistorius. Thank you very much for your interest. This press conference will be translated. You find translation devices on your seats, and may I kindly request you to put them on. The Secretary General will hold his initial remarks in English, and both German ministers will speak in German, and afterwards we'll have time for a few questions. Excellency.
Dear Minister Wadephul, dear Minister Pistorius, ladies and gentlemen, I thank the government of Germany for hosting impeccably this important meeting in Berlin. Germany is a pillar of the multilateral system, a strong and generous support of the United Nations, and an essential partner in our peacekeeping, peace-building and humanitarian assistance efforts, with almost 200 German peacekeepers now serving in our ranks. I am especially pleased to be here so soon after the new government took office, and I look forward to building on our partnership in the time ahead. The commitment of the German government and the German people themselves is strongly reflected in this ministerial meeting on the future of peacekeeping. As I said in my remarks, this year marks the 80th anniversary of the United Nations, and nothing symbolizes our organization's commitment to peace more clearly than our blue helmets. UN peacekeeping operations are a cornerstone of the United Nations. Each and every day, peacekeepers are hard at work in troubled spots around the world, protecting civilians caught in the line of fire, maintaining ceasefires, keeping life-saving humanitarian aid flowing, and building the foundations of peace in countries shattered by conflict. Many have paid the ultimate price over the years, 4,400 in all. Their memories and their service in the cause of peace will never be forgotten, which is why the commitments being made here today and tomorrow are so important. I'm heartened by the exceptional turnout of ministers from across the globe representing the full range of our peacekeeping partners. Now more than ever, we need the political support of UN member states. The goal is not just to keep a lead on conflicts, but to build political support for lasting solutions that can build peace. Over these 2 days, we welcome member state statements of support for peacekeeping, as well as their pledges of military and police capabilities, new partnerships, and technological support. This meeting is also about something more fundamental, the future of peacekeeping itself. Let me be clear. Peacekeeping operations today are facing massive challenges, increasing the dangers that our brave peacekeepers already face. A record number of conflicts, deepening division and mistrust, terrorism and transnational crime, and the direct targeting of peacekeepers through drones, improvised explosive devices, and even social media. We need to ask some tough questions about the mandates guiding these operations and what the outcomes and solutions should look like. Every context is different. From our operations in Lebanon, the Central African Republic and South Sudan, to our partnerships with the African Union, made stronger with the Security Council resolution to support peace enforcement missions under the EU's responsibility, supported by the UN, including through assessed contributions. We are working to adapt, to tailor, and to support our missions to the needs and requirements of each contact. Unfortunately, peacekeeping operations have been facing serious liquidity problems. It is absolutely essential that all member states respect their financial obligations, paying their contributions in full and on time. At the same time, we are moving forward on an ambitious review of peace operations, including peacekeeping, but also the peace-enforcing missions that are becoming more and more necessary, as called by Member States in September's Pact for the Future. We are examining how to make peace operations more efficient, cost-effective, flexible and resilient, including in contexts where there is no peace to keep. Today's Ministerial is an important part of this work as we share ideas and explore ways to strengthen these important functions for the future. Peacekeepers and the populations they protect deserve nothing less. In their names, I want to express my thanks and appreciation to Germany and all the countries in attendance for helping us ensure that peacekeeping is fully equipped for today's realities and tomorrow's challenges. Thank you.
Ein herzliches Willkommen auch von mir. Ich kann den
I too would like to extend a warm word of welcome, and I can only return your thanks, Secretary General. It's a special honor for the Federal Republic of Germany, for all of us, for all the participants of this conference, to have you here attend this conference in Berlin. And the timing for this conference could hardly have been better. The present conflicts and crises demonstrate day in, day out to us that peace and security do not appear from nowhere. As an international community, we have to stand up for them every day. Already yesterday, I said that it is the commitment and the determination with which the United Nations were founded after the horrors of the Second World War unleashed by Nazi Germany that guide us today. This is what keeps us on our toes even today. And against the backdrop of this history, I clearly say here now, speaking as the German Foreign Minister, that Germany bears a special responsibility for the defense of the principles and values enshrined in the UN Charter. And this is why Germany is one of the most important supporters of the United Nations, not only with the important UN campus in Bonn, but also as the host of this conference. Many of you might not be aware of this, but the building in which our conference has taken place, the seat of the present Federal Foreign Office, belonged to the Reichsbank during the Second World War. That is to say, it belonged to the institution that funded the war and thus also the crimes of the Nazis in the concentration camps. I think it is the good fortune in history that today more than 130 delegations have come together in that very same building from all over the world to discuss the future of the peacekeepers. And it is an expression of the trust that other countries have in Germany, and we're grateful for that expression of trust. Germany is one of the most important contributors to the peacekeeping missions. We support the missions through funding, through personnel, but also through granting political support. And we have underlined this together, the Foreign Ministry and the Defense Ministry, in no uncertain terms. Germany will make available an additional €82 million for the peacekeeping operations of the United Nations. And because Germany assumes responsibility, it's also important for us that we find solutions for the major challenges that UN peacekeeping is facing these days. I noticed a high level of agreement amongst the participants of this conference in Berlin with regard to the need for change and reform, that we have to tackle these issues together in financial terms, but also in logistics terms. We need more troop contributors, and we need missions that are more effective. Germany has submitted concrete proposals for a reform of the peacekeeping missions. Allow me to make the following 3 points in that regard. First, we need a tailor-made, more efficient use of the funds. We have to make a sober analysis. Once major donors like the United States withdraw, we won't be able to fully fill this gap left behind. Second, we need a modular, a more precise definition and design of mandates. In order to create peace, we don't need a comprehensive, all-inclusive package providing anything from legal advice, securing the borders, down to training the teachers. No one can expect of us in a crisis that these broad mandates can be justly fulfilled. Leaner, more clearer mandates that are tailor-made to the actual needs will increase the effectiveness and thus also the acceptance of UN missions and therefore the UN as a whole. And third, an optimum interaction with regional organizations such as the African Union. This is important because we want to ensure that the peace efforts of every party are mutually enhancing. As we talk about the Blue Helmet operations, the peacekeeping missions of the future, we always have to bear in mind that we should create synergy effects. Dear Antonio Guterres, these are the proposals you will take home with you to New York. Discussions will be ongoing in the coming months. I look forward to cooperating with you. You can rely on Germany as a strong partner for your reform agenda. The need for peacekeeping operations and missions continues to be as urgent as ever. There's no reason whatsoever to relent in our efforts. And therefore, I want to use this opportunity to once again thank all those who've made this conference possible, the colleagues in my ministry, the soldiers, dear Boris, from the Defense Ministry, the police officers, and the many, many busy hands involved in the preparation and implementation of this event. I hope, in a way, this serves as a kind of letter of recommendation for Germany, which has submitted its candidacy for the seat as a non-permanent member on the Security Council 2027-28. Thank you very much.
Ja, lieber Herr Generalsekretär.
Secretary General Guterres, dear colleague Mr. Wadefull, ladies and gentlemen. 60 ministers from all around the world came together in Berlin, and together we have been working to strengthen the United Nations peacekeeping missions, so Blue Helmet missions. And we had just under 2 days of time. I don't quite remember how many discussions I had, bilateral talks, polar sites, and so on. So maybe around 20 at least. It felt like speed dating sometimes, but it was really worth it because I met excellent colleagues who bring in their passion, their expertise, and help us understand the conflicts and the potential for escalation in many parts of the world. So I'm very, very grateful. Today, we can assure you that this has all been worth it. We have made good progress in our talks. We are all assuming responsibility by deploying personnel to mission areas, by providing funding and material or training, and of course, ideas for reform of peacekeeping. From Berlin, today, a spirit of peace goes out into the world, a willingness to ensure peace, to enforce peace, to keep the peace. And I am very grateful for that. And I would like to thank everyone involved, not just for their material support. This morning, I expressed my desire that very many substantial pledges would follow our German pledges, and I am pleased to say that there were 74 substantial pledges, all of course in line with the possibilities of the donors. So again, 74 nations pledged capacities, including critical capacities, aircraft, reconnaissance drones, and so on. And we in Germany are planning to be more active in the area of technology. We have pledged 82 million euros, 57 of which from the defense budget of the Federal Republic of Germany. It is important to us to make new and innovative contributions or pledges. As I said, technological pledges. For example, renewable energy systems. Some of you may think, why do we need that? Why do Blue Helmets need renewable energies or photovoltaic panels? But currently, 90% of electricity in UN missions is generated by diesel generators. and the fuel convoys are targets for those who dislike the missions. And up to 90% of the military detachments are bound protecting these convoys. So we are spending a lot of effort just supplying basic supplies to the military. And this is why we need renewable energies. We need this kind of electricity supply and make the missions more energy self-sufficient. That is just one example. We are talking about 100 million of liters, by the way, who have to be brought to the camps by road from afar. So that is an excellent target, of course. And we risk disruption of fuel supply. So I mentioned energy self-sufficiency. Another important topic is transport drones. So how can I get material from A to B without being a target for attacks, sabotage, robbery? And this is why it is important to have more uncrewed transport vehicles that can cover large distances quickly and make our operations safer and more efficient. Then third, counter-IED, or protection against improvised explosive devices. These IEDs are a huge problem in mission areas. And we will contribute technology, so detectors, training, and personal protective equipment. And these are just 3 examples for modernizing the equipment of blue helmets to make these missions safer, more efficient, and also more resource efficient. At the end of the conference, I can say that I am very grateful to you, Secretary General, for coming to Berlin. In Germany, of course, we know that Berlin is always well worth a visit, especially in the beautiful month of May. But also, we are very much aware of your jam-packed schedule. So we are particularly pleased for you to be here. Mr. Wadefuhl said that we are living in times where our commitment to peace and to peacekeeping is more important than ever. And the more closely we stand together, the better for peace in the world. Yesterday, I left the dinner for a few moments, and I talked to some of our German blue helmets, and I was really impressed by their passion and their motivation that they bring to their service. I talked to policemen and women who really made me feel how important their work is. So I would like to expressly thank all those who serve on the ground and who do this with a lot of passion and conviction. They carry out very important work in different missions around the world. And these missions can only be successful if we really appreciate them and then put our money where our mouth is. They need specific, tangible support more than ever. Our personnel really should have the best possible protection. So once again, thank you very much to all of you, and thank you to the members of my ministry and of the Foreign Office for organizing this conference so excellently. I was really proud of all our teams. So what you can see here is the result of month and month of hard work and much attention to detail. So thank you very much, and it was really a pleasure and an honor to be the host.
It's scheduled, but I saw a question by Christian Wilp from RTL.
Ja, herzlichen Dank. Ich hätte eine Frage.
Thank you very much. I have a question for all 3 of you. First of all, what do you think about current diplomatic efforts regarding a ceasefire in Ukraine? Would the United Nations be ready to send blue helmets? And would Germany be willing to send and deploy German military personnel to Ukraine? And then second, We have just heard that 3 potential agents, Russian agents, have been arrested who might have been planning attacks on Germany. How much of a threat is this, and do you think that there are further potentially dangerous agents in Germany? I think we can be sure that there are more than just 3 perpetrators. We have been seeing hybrid attacks from Russia, so originating by state agencies or with state support. We see it in the Baltic Sea region, in cyberspace, but also on the ground, as we like to say. But our agencies are really working at full speed and doing whatever they can to prevent this kind of crime, acts of sabotage. We all know that there is no total security, and this is why it is all the more important that our security authorities can really be focused in their work. Regarding your question about the ceasefire, I decided to no longer comment on the words of others, but only on actions, and I think this is a good course of action. So far, we have not been seeing a willingness by Vladimir Putin to come to Istanbul and to have a ceasefire even for a few days to send a message, and I think that says more than any press statement. So we should measure him by his actions, not his words. I am not very optimistic that we will see a ceasefire in the coming days. But if you have low expectations, you can sometimes be positively surprised. And third, you may know that I am not a big fan of hypothetical questions, of what ifs. But if we had a ceasefire, then of course we would have to discuss how this ceasefire could be secured in Ukraine. And that would be the moment to discuss this within the EU, NATO, with our partners within the coalition of the willing, and of course maybe in the United Nations context. But I really don't want to go too deep into speculation of who would be willing to do what, because we also always have to consider strategic ambiguity. I will travel to Antalya tonight to the NATO foreign ministers meeting, and we will have a meeting with my Ukrainian colleague Sibia in the margins of the meeting, where we will be coordinating our position as part of the E4. Our position is clear. We fully support Ukraine. Ukraine is fully ready to negotiate a ceasefire and then also peace agreement. So now it is Russia's turn. Russia needs to come to the negotiating table, and I believe that we will be underlining this position. We are, of course, willing to facilitate or help facilitate these discussions. This is the position of the E4, and we are in close coordination with our American friends. I will be discussing this with Marco Rubio, State Secretary Marco Rubio, tomorrow. He will be joining us in Antalya. So the political West has a very clear position. The war must finish and Russia must come to the negotiation table so that we can reach fair results.
For an immediate and unconditional ceasefire in the Ukraine, but we do not see the ceasefire only in itself. We think a ceasefire must be something to pave the way for a solution. And for us, the solution is just peace. And just peace for us means peace that respects the UN Charter, international law, and the resolutions of the General Assembly of the United Nations, including the territorial integrity of the Ukraine. This is our position. And I believe that it is extremely important in a moment like this that international law prevails. The day we abdicate about defending international law, we are paving the way for chaos all over the world. On the other hand, the UN is ready to provide whatever support the parties, if the parties agree, would ask the UN to do. But obviously, this does not depend on us. It depends on the parties. It is obvious that if a ceasefire and a peace, as described by me, could be approved by the Security Council, it would be a major step forward. But I am aware that it will not be an easy job.
Yeah, true.
Thank you very much for your interest in this press conference. Thank you.
Thank you.